Hey, what's up? It's Grace, and right now I'm going to be doing a 15 facts about me video. So in my previous video, it was a chatty life update, and a lot of you were like, wow, I've been watching your videos for so long and I really know nothing about you. And I was like, true, because I really only talk about books, which is fine and dandy, but yeah, once in a while, let's just talk about something different and spice it up. I do have a previous 15 facts about me video. I think I did over a year ago. I might be reusing some of those facts because I mean, I can't get more It is freaking hard to pull out a lot of facts about you. I mean, at least for me, I'm like, 15 facts, man, that's a lot. But I do have a previous one. I don't know if I'm gonna be reusing some of those ones because I don't feel like rewatching it. You know, this is just a little bit of an updated one. If you're interested in getting to know me a little bit better, stick around and let's get started. So the first fact about me is I fear that I may be in love with the idea of love more than I am with the actual product of it. I am a big romantic person. I think being in a relationship would be super fun and awesome and whatever. Like a family is so great and I want that. Like, yes, but I'm like, but what if the idea of it is better than the actual thing? And that's just a fear of mine with, not just with like, you know, love, but in a general way. I'm like, I want to travel the world, I want to do this, but then I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually wanting to do that or if I'm just in love with the idea of it. You gotta at least try it, you know? And one day in my life, those two things will happen. Fact number 2 is I am constantly not completing my text messages or even like in a conversation not finishing my sentences when I communicate with people. Because for some reason my brain is like, let me just text someone and not finish the sentence because I'm finishing it in my head and they should automatically know what I'm thinking. And same with talking to people, I will start a sentence in my head and then maybe even finish the last line and people are like, what? And I'm like, oh, I finished it in my head and I thought you heard it. But obviously they don't, and I don't know why I do that. I do that so much and it gets really confusing, especially with text message because there's no like context and you can't really hear the way someone's speaking. It's just a thing that I have to work on. I'm like, people don't automatically know what you're thinking. You gotta actually tell them. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Fact number 3 is I am a believer of the zodiac signs. Like, pretty much a lot of people are, but for me, it's like, when someone asks, they're like, are you into zodiac signs? I'm like, oh, not really. And then they're like, well, I'm a Gemini. I'm like, get out of my house. So it's almost like I don't want to believe the zodiac signs as much as I do. I'm a Scorpio, and then Scorpio's got a bad name because, I mean, I understand. But I'm a cusper. I'm right on the cusp. I think I'm like on the cusp of a Libra, I think, and then Scorpio. But whatever, you know, it may not be true, but if you're a Gemini, you better get the hell out of my house. I'm kidding, but I'm also serious a little bit. Like, some of my really good friends are Geminis, and it essentially has nothing to do with your actual person, because like you could be it really doesn't matter, but I do believe it, and it's kind of, you know, it's just a thing. You probably are the same way. Maybe, I don't know. Fact number 4 is for a little over a year now, I've been obsessed with watching true crime shows from Forensic Files to like, how to, like, I Almost Got Away with Murder, just stuff along the lines like, Killer Women, pretty much any true crime show on Netflix. I have been binge watching it for like over a year. And because of that, I literally trust no one. Which is funny because previously I'm like, I will trust whoever until they give me a reason not to. But now even the littlest of things, like I go to a supermarket and like the teller's talking to me, I'm like, are you capable of murder? I was at my parents' house the other week and my windshield had cracked, so the glass guy came over to fix my windshield. Knocked on the door, I answered, and it probably looked like I was home alone, so whatever. And then he was like, I'm just gonna go fix this. I was like, okay, great. I gave him all the stuff he needed, he went and fixed it, and then he came back and he knocked on the door. He's like, I hate to ask this, but can I go use the restroom? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so he like got in the house and I was like, oh my god, what if he's using the restroom as an excuse to kill me? And I was like, my dad was home at the time. I was like, Dad, your lunch is ready. I made your lunch, just so he knew that like I was not home alone and I was not gonna die today. But that is a very unhealthy way to live because you just gotta not think everyone is a murderer, obviously, like rationally. But let me tell you, after you watch shows like that, you're like, everyone is capable of murder. You meet someone really nice and you're like, God, that person is so nice. And then you start thinking, you're like, they're a little too nice and they're a little too charismatic. So maybe they're a sociopath? And I'm like, Grace, you gotta freaking chill. Fact number 5 is when I was little, and even still now, when I think about the past, I think about the past in black and white because that's how the movies are, or even dull of color, because if it is restored and brought to life, the colors are a little bit duller. And for some reason, just because that is the only visual that I have of movies from like the 50s, that is how I see the 50s, in black and white or dull of color, and for some reason I just can't get that visual out of my head, and I think I will forever think that. Fact number 6 is I used to idolize people really easily, especially when I was younger. I was in acting class so much, like acting was my life, and so, I mean, it still is such a big part of my life, but when I was younger I would see movies or watch interviews and I would easily idolize celebrities, and you know, when something came out about them, that they had done something, I really just got a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, dang, they aren't good people, they aren't the people that I thought them to be, which was a fault on my part because I had put expectations of a person who, yes, they're in the spotlight, they're in, you know, their life is very publicized. On a pedestal, I thought that they were more than just a person, and I think that's so unfair because especially nowadays, and even with YouTubers and like just people in general, they're put, and everyone is problematic. More people are more problematic than others, but I found that idolizing people that you don't know is pretty much just setting yourself up for failure. You are putting an expectation on a person that is literally the same as you. They make mistakes, they do all these crazy things, and to think they're anything more than that is just kind of, again, setting yourself up for failure. So I've made it a point to just only look up to people that I personally know, so like my sister and my mom and my dad, and I think that's just such a more healthy way, especially as the world is getting more technologied out, which is not a word, but I'm sure you get what I mean. But I think it's very important to not idolize someone that you don't know on a personal level. Fact number 7 is my favorite people in the world are my niece and nephew. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that like I am with them almost 24/7. We have a very unique kind of situation, family dynamic, which is a whole nother thing, but they are almost like, they are legally my brother and sister because my mom and my dad adopted them, so they are like, but they're also just, I've never felt such a genuine love for anyone, just so pure, and they have taught me so much in my life, and to not like at least mention them in this video, I mentioned them a lot, but they are just the two most amazing people ever. My niece Jolie, she is 7, and my nephew is almost 6, his birthday is on May 6th, which is crazy because 6, damn, he's getting big. But to have a facts about me video and not mention them because they are a huge part of my life would be not right. So my niece and nephew are my favorite people in the world. Fact number 8 is I really do not trust the government. I'm a conspiracy theorist to the 100th degree, okay? I watch many videos on conspiracy theories, and the fact that our phones know essentially everything about us. They know literally everything. I get in my car and I get a ping like, hey, light traffic to blah blah blah, and that is my destination. How they know that's my destination, I don't fucking know. And like when we get a new app and it says allow to see your location, we allow to sync contacts. It is crazy. And I feel like the government is just calculating all of our information, and no one, I mean, yes, there are people that question it, but the majority is like, eh. I like me, I'm sure I do it because I'm like, I don't have anything to hide. But in mass numbers, they're getting pretty much everyone's information, and they have to do it for a reason. I mean, you give your fingerprint to your phone. That is weird. It's a little bit scary, but I am, like, even the silliest of conspiracy theories, I'm like, true. Avril Lavigne is replaced by someone else? True. I mean, I know it's not really true, but I'm not saying it's not true. I don't remember who it is, but someone told me, like, that we didn't land on the moon, and I was like, you are nuts. And then I researched it, and I was like, maybe we didn't land on the moon. Maybe we didn't land on the moon when we thought we landed on the moon because we wanted to be the first people to do it. I don't know. It's some wild stuff. But anyway, fact number 8 is I just do not trust the government. Fact number 9 is growing up, I was a very big brat because I got away with it, and my parents, you know, I'm the youngest kid, so that by the time they had me, they were like, I'm over it, let's just give her whatever she wants. Not whatever I want, not like extravagant things, but I was just never without, and because of that, I was a little brat, especially to my dad, who, gosh, love him because he had the patience of someone that I aspire, like I said, I look up to my dad. He has great patience, especially with raising me. I was a good kid, like I never did anything crazy, but my attitude sucked. It's funny though, because I was in a play at the time and my dad went to go pick me up, and my acting coach said something, or my dad had said something, and I said something kind of like snarky back to him, and my dad's like, gosh, Grace, you're such a brat. And my acting coach was like, Grace, a brat? I could never see it. And I was like, boy, you have a lot to see because I can be a brat. I mean, I still can be a brat, obviously, because everyone can be a brat, but when I was younger, I had to go to a whole nother level. But I'm glad I figured it out before it was detrimental to my adult life. Fact number 10 is when I find a new song, that will be the only song that I will be listening to in my car on repeat for probably a solid couple weeks. I know that a lot of us are guilty of this, And that's why I don't really like to drive with people, because I just really like to listen to that one killer song that I found on repeat. I don't want to listen to multiple songs when I found a really good one. And I'm like, people are like, we'll take your car, we'll drive together. I'm like, no. Fact number 11 kind of correlates with my previous fact, and that is when I like something or I care about someone, I put my 110% in them or whatever I am liking. And I'm trying to make this not sound like I am so amazing, but I will do anything. I mean, not anything, like not something like that will put me in prison or something. Or maybe I will, you know, I don't know, because I'll pretty much do anything for my friends or my family and people that I care about. Things that I love, like the songs, I will replay them because I love them so much. Or with a show, I can't just like love a show and not rewatch it, or read a book and not reread it eventually. It's always just when I love something or I love someone, I love them with everything that I have, and I love it with everything I have. And you know, sometimes that's not always a good thing. It's like I either will put everything in it, or if I don't feel like I will be putting all my efforts into it, I just won't bother. Fact number 12 is I read some really wild romances. I mean, really wild. I posted a story on my Instagram the other day, and I was like, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey is way too much for me. I would never read that book. It's just too much. Then I was on Amazon, and the synopsis or the tagline for this book that I got, and it was, I may be falling in love with my boyfriend's dad. And I was like, buying that. Because interesting, and that is some perspective, and I should just read it for like research purposes or something like that. Pretty much I'm just living through the epic romances that I read, because I'm not ever actually going to do that. Because if I'm talking to a guy and they're like, this is so great, and I'm like, it is great, and they're like, do you want to go meet up and talk? And I'm like, no, I would literally rather die. Like I said before, I think I'm in love with the idea of things more than the actual thing, but I don't ever really give it a try, which is something I gotta work on. But as of right now, I'm content with reading those epic romances. Fact number 14 is I really like to sing, nothing serious or anything. I have a couple little singing clips on my Instagram, and I'm currently learning how to play the guitar. I know a couple songs, and then just learning the instrument, like the chords in itself. And I just find it so therapeutic and just a great outlet for me. So yeah, it's just another little hobby of mine. And fact number 15 is I want to pursue so many careers. I don't want just one, so I'm going to school to be a teacher, a primary school teacher, and then maybe even work my way up to being a professor. And then also I want to be double majoring in film, and then even from that, like I want to do something maybe in crime or something. Like I have so much that I want to accomplish in my life, and I want to make sure that I do as much as I can with the time that I have. I just always want to be doing something new. So those were the 15 facts that I thought I would share about myself in order for you guys just to know me a little bit better. If you want to talk to me about facts about yourself, I would love to know. We can chat it up in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a wonderful time wherever you're at, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.